Hello everybody, this is Tom Netting coming to you live from the Student Financial Aid Workshop in Las Vegas, Nevada. Throughout the course of this week, we're going to be presenting a series of blogs providing you with a recap of each day's events. On Tuesday, we spent the day going through the chain of gainful employment sessions that were being offered by the department. We started out our day attending the opening session in which Secretary Duncan, as well as Jim Manning and a number of the Department of Ed's top officials, David Bergeron, Dan Madzellen, Jeff Baker, and others, provided an overview of a number of issues as it related to the federal update that they provided regarding issues such as the VFAs, which are the new voluntary flexible agreements, adding another 15 guarantee agencies to the direct loan servicing providers, on top of Great Lakes, Nelnet, Sallie Mae, and FIA. They also discussed a number of other issues, including the federal budget, the sequestration process, and the concerns with the amount of funding that will be provided for the federal Pell Grant program into the future, and a number of other issues that Tony Fragomeni will talk about in a few minutes. Throughout the course of our gainful employment track, we learned a lot of new information and some additional information, which we encourage you to review the slides that we'll be sending along with this blog in terms of a link to the website. Some of the major takeaways with regard to gainful employment: first and foremost, Jeff Baker and John Colados provided the same exact slide presentation that AACS received 2 weeks ago as their opening session talking about gainful employment. In subsequent sessions, we learned that the NSLDS process, in terms of gainful employment reporting, has 80% of the schools having submitted their applications and their information by the November 15th deadline. What was stressed time and time again throughout the course of that session was that if in fact an institution has not provided their information and their reporting, you need to contact the department immediately. They stressed that compliance was the key, and even if you hadn't completed your information, you need to contact the department and let them know and work with them as soon as possible. In terms of those 80% of the institutions that have submitted their information, the key takeaway there was that if in fact you did not receive a confirmation back from the Department of Education, your data has not actually been submitted, and you need to contact the department immediately. They stressed and emphasized once again that if you didn't receive a follow-up report showing your error messages, that they have not received your information and you need to collect it and submit it and resubmit it as soon as possible. Compliance, compliance, compliance was their key. The next step in the process for institutions who have submitted is they heavily encourage you to work towards reviewing and looking at the information that you have submitted in order to make sure that it's accurate. You need to work through the errors. In a number of instances, the errors are problematic in terms of Social Security numbers, and you're going to have to go through those files file by file, one at a time. And you're going to have to work with your other third-party servicers in order to gain and collect information where there are errors and inaccuracies. In the final session of the day, we learned a little bit more about the department's template with regard to disclosures. They spent a great deal of time talking about the beta testing that they've gone through with regard to gainful employment and the disclosures. They are doing a lot of research and a lot of work right now and looking at the websites to make sure that institutions' websites are providing the disclosures. Department officials said that they are concerned with the number of institutions across all sectors of the higher education community that have not completed their disclosures. With regard to the templates, they openly acknowledge that once again, those templates are forthcoming, that they're working on them, and they've beta tested them both with schools and with students, and that they anticipate having that to you on or before July 1st of 2012. An important takeaway as well from that particular session was that once the information does come out, institutions and the community will have a 30-day comment period in order to move forward with providing additional information and additional recommendations. The last key takeaway from that particular session was that in fact once the templates come forward, there is going to be an opportunity not only just to have the hard data that is provided through the department for the websites, but also that the institution is going to have the ability to add to that information. So in the instances where you have, or you may be collecting your mean loan debt on a campus by campus, program by program level, as opposed to using the 6-digit CIP code, you're going to be able to add that information in. I'm going to turn it over to Tony now to talk a little bit more about the opening session, and we will be providing additional blogies for you each day. On Wednesday, our track will be on cohort default rates, and on Thursday it'll be on a number of the program integrity issues, including definition of a credit hour, state authorization, and other issues with regard to program integrity. So with that, here's Tony.